Good morning, mathematicians. Today we are going to continue to graph lines from a table. So we worked on graphing points from a table, we worked on completing a table, and we worked on graphing lines from an already completed table. So today we're going to put all of that together. We're going to have to finish the table and then plot the points from that table we finish and then graph the line. So today it all comes together. So I'm going to just do a couple examples with you. And I would recommend having open the PowerPoint today so you can follow along with me as I go through it in the lesson. So the directions are to complete the table, plot the points, and graph the line. So these slides have been formatted for you. All you have to do is click on the boxes and type it in, and the dots and the lines are already there for you. So our equation for this first slide is y equals 3x plus 1. And as you can see, they already have some x values for us. So that's great. We don't have to think of any x values. So we're going to use the x values that they give us. So our first one we're going to look at is -3. And remember, the only thing that changes is now we are putting a number in for x. Everything else around that stays the same. So now we just simplify. 3 times -3 would be -9 plus 1, and y equals -8. So those integer rules that we worked on at the very beginning, they come in handy when we're working through this stuff. That way you don't have to really think about the adding and the subtracting and the multiplying. That stuff should be coming very easily now, and the bigger picture is what we're working on. All right, the second value we need to evaluate this equation at is 0. So we have y equals 3 times 0 plus 1. And anything times 0 is just 0, so our y value is 1. All right, so we're going to come over here and select this box. Once it's selected, we can type in our y value. And our last x value that we need to evaluate this equation at is 2. So we have y equals 3 times 2 plus 1. And y would equal 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, and 6 plus 1 is 7. Whoa. So make sure our box is selected and type in our value. Alright, so now we need to take it one step further and actually plot these points. So I'm going to select one of my dots. I need to plot at -3, -8. So I'm going to start at the origin, go to the left 3 units, and down 8. And plot my point. I'm going to select another dot. And as you can see, like there's some arrows down here that pop up. Or if you get it centered, you can move it there. But if you get it on one of those, you're going to distort the dot. Okay. So make sure whenever you go to move it, you have the little 4 arrow thing. All right, start at the origin 0, so I don't move left or right, and +1 would be up 1. Okay. And sometimes these dots like to click into their own place, and so you can't quite get it there. It's all right, just get it close. And our last point. Start at the origin. My x value is +2, so I'm going to go to the right 2 and up 7. Right, now that I have my 3 dots there, I'm going to move my line. And I'm going to tilt it, and I'll probably have to make it bigger. Oh, I didn't tilt it enough. And it's just kind of a trial and error until you get it there. All right, one last thing to just remind you on these lines that I have already have arrows on them, so you don't have to worry about drawing the arrows, but when we do graph on paper, you need to draw those arrows. Alright, so that's the first one. I'm going to make these lines a different color. Maybe if I make them, it'll pop out a little more. I don't know, that's kind of hard to see. It's alright, I can see it. Alright, let's go to the second one. Alright, this is the last one that I'm going to do with you. The rest will be up to you. So our equation that we are looking at is y equals negative x minus 2. Now a lot of people get confused with that negative x, which is why this is one of the ones I'm doing. When you have that negative in the equation, you have to make sure to keep all negative signs. So our first value that we are evaluating this equation at is negative 3. So we have y equals negative. So that negative outside of those parentheses is this negative sign right here. But we're substituting in a negative 3. So we also have to have a negative on that 3. Yeah. The easiest way to do this is just keep everything the same and then put your parentheses where the variable is so you don't forget about a negative sign. Alright, negative times negative would be a positive 3 minus 2, which would give us a y value of 1. So you come over to your PowerPoint, make sure you get that box selected, and our y value is positive 1. The second x value that we need to evaluate this equation at is 0. So we have y equals negative, substitute our 0 in, minus 2. Well, negative times 0 is just 0 minus 2, and our y value is negative 2. So select that box, type in negative 2. And the last value is 4. Notice how we still have that negative. Notice when we're substituting in a negative, we have a double negative, and when we're substituting in a positive, there's just one negative value. Alright, so we have negative 4 minus 2, which would be negative 6. Same sign, keep the number, same signs, add the numbers, keep the sign. Alright, once we have that square selected, we can type in our y value. Alright, so we got the first part done. We completed the table. Now we need to plot the points. It's negative 3, positive 1. So from the origin, I'm going to go to the left 3 and up 1. Second point, 0, negative 2. So my x value is 0, so I don't move left and right. But my y value is negative 2, so I'm going to move down 2. And our last point, 4, negative 6. So I'm going to go to the right 4 and down negative 6. All right, I have my points plotted, so I'm going to drag my line over, tilt it a little, kind of. Sometimes it takes several tries to make it look good. Right, make sure you extend it past the last 2 points. And again, we have the arrows on it already. So we are good to go. I wonder if green would show up better. Nope. All right. The rest are up to you. So slide 4, 5, and 6. And slide 7 is a bonus. So if you do slide 7, you'll get extra credit points. Speaking of extra credit, if you got to this point in the video, why don't you just drop one of the animal emojis in the chat so I know you got to this video, and I'll probably sprinkle some extra credit points your way. So have a great day, happy mathing, and I know you're gonna rock the socks off of this.